Hi guys, welcome back to a new school year at CPDLF, and this is your first launch for your new course called U.S. History in the Summit Learning Platform. This is the first launch of probably 5 or 6 weeks worth that we're going to discuss the American History Mythbusters project, which is the first one that you'll come to once it's assigned to you. First of all, I don't believe I've worked with any of you really, so my name is Miss Gibbons and I teach the 8th and 9th grade history. You should have had Miss Giancola last year, I believe. So hopefully we kind of run things a little similarly. I do want to try to make sure I'm in contact with all of you at least once a week. I'm not really going to be, calling you or your families or anything, but I would like to at least send an email or a hangout just to make sure that we keep in touch and I know what's going on with the kids in my classroom. So I'd also encourage you guys to please feel free to contact me when you need help. Don't wait till it's too late. If you think something's confusing and I didn't explain it enough, please reach out. There's lots of ways to get in touch with me. You could email me, send me a hangout. You can call me here at the school, or feel free to text. That is my Google Voice text messaging number, 515-9224, and I will get back to you. And again, you're going to have the most success getting a hold of me and any of your other instructors between the hours of 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. because that's actually when we are on site. It doesn't mean that I won't respond in the evening at some point, but you should try to be doing a majority of your work during the actual school day. The first thing I want to discuss is the pace chart that I created for you guys. Really, I'd love to see you all get off on the right foot and just be kind of going along with the pace of the class. So there's no need to rush through things. The goal is to have some meaningful learning. So we don't want to rush. We want to take our time. And by following this pace chart, I think you're going to have more than enough time to do this class and your others. So how you get to that, I'm going to show you in the Google Classroom. Google Classroom does look a little bit different this year. There's no About page. They replaced it with a Classwork. So on the Classwork page, I created a topic called Pace Chart and Resources. So this is always going to be here. It might get pushed to the bottom a little bit at times, but I can always try to keep bringing it back to the top. This is where I'm going to put your pace chart and any other resources or documents that I might have you use more frequently. So this is a good place to look. So all you have to do is click in here and click into the pace chart. And then this is the U.S. History pace chart for this year. Basically how you follow this is week 1, which runs from August 22nd through the 28th. And then all you would do is kind of take your mouse over here or look and just make a line across. And this is what you should be working on this week. So you don't necessarily have to finish the Revolutionary America focus area. If you do, that's excellent. But you don't have to finish that until the 11th is when that would be a nice time to do that. But this week you can see you want to have your Mythbusters checkpoint 1 completed for this week. Okay, so because then next week you're going to work on checkpoint 2 and so forth. So this whole project here is comprised, and we want it to, there's 4 checkpoints in a final project for the product of the first one. And by October 2nd is when we want to finish that one. And it's really not a huge project for the first one, so I think that's more than enough time. Also, something I want to point out, the ones that are bolded are the ones that are required for your grade. The ones that are not bolded are the ones that are additional focus areas, and those are more extra credits. So if you're ambitious and want to get an A+, that is the only way you can do that, is to complete all of the focus areas. So again, the bolded ones are required. Also, the highlighted parts over here are the checkpoints. We have 8 checkpoints throughout the year. So on the 25th will be the first time that you and your families will be receiving some form of progress report to let them know. So if you would like your parents and guardians to be really proud of you and to feel pretty proud of yourself, make sure by the 25th that you're pretty much completed with everything here, everything above this line. And I don't see how you could have a bad grade at that point. So again, good idea to follow the pace chart. The launches, this is an instructional launch. Launches are instructional videos to help you learn new concepts as well as keep pace with the projects and focus areas. So I do try to introduce new concepts each week and actually help you go through focus areas and work through each checkpoint of the project. So I do break it down in more detail as we go on. Launches must be completed the week that they are assigned. So this is something that is different from last year. Last year, we ended up with a lot of our learners waiting until the last possible week of school to try to do 35 launches in 5 classes. And again, we're going for meaningful learning, and that really doesn't help anybody. So you will have access to the launches all year long, but if you do not complete them within the week that they are due, then you will not get credit for that. And why they're important, again, it's going to help you with the entire class because you're going to be learning valuable information for the focus areas and for the projects, but they're also worth 10% of your final grade. And this is enough to swing your entire grade level or letter grade. I watched multiple people not do these launches last year and end up with, they had an A- and they didn't do the launches and it took them down to a B. So, but it also can work the other way. If you got a B in the class, but you do all the launches, it could be enough to pull you up to an A-. So definitely worth doing just for the learning aspect of it as well. The first project is the American History Mythbusters project. And the essential question that we will keep coming back to for the next 5 or 6 weeks is, first of all, what is history? How is history constructed, or what is it made up of? And then also, what myths exist around the founding of the United States? So we're going to be looking into how history is made and how we determine what is real and what is not. So the purpose of this, we need to understand that there are many different accounts of the past because people have different perspectives. So for example, we're going to be discussing Christopher Columbus. When you think of the founding of America, I'm sure Christopher Columbus thought it went a little bit differently than the Native Americans who were already here. And if you had each of their perspectives on what happened, I imagine they're very, very different. So you have to take into account all perspectives and understand what the purpose of these things are. We're going to be looking at different sources of information to figure out what is myth and what is reality. And then you're going to be picking one myth to analyze and create a multimedia piece to share what you've learned. The first thing that's due next Tuesday, the 28th, again, our weeks run from Wednesday to Tuesday. So by Tuesday, the 28th, I would like to see you guys try to finish checkpoint 1 and submit it for feedback. So in this one, you will be analyzing the point of view and purpose and the context of the sources in the Christopher Columbus document set. So point of view is, again, just who wrote it and why is basically what point of view and purpose means. And then context is what was going on at the same time that this event was happening. So what was going on in history, like social issues, historical, economic issues, that helps create background information or context. Whenever you do get the project assigned to you, which will be very soon, it'll look something like this. It's a little different from my screen, but we're going to be basically working through this project in order. The checkpoints go down 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the starred one is your final product, and that is what gets the final grade. So the importance of these checkpoints and to submit them is to get the feedback. So I'd like to see you guys submitting one checkpoint at a time, and then give me a day or so to go back and give you some feedback so that you can make some changes to apply to the next checkpoint. Otherwise, if you submit 2 and 3 and 4 checkpoints at the same time, you risk the chance of doing all of them wrong and getting a lower grade on your final product. So take your time, one checkpoint at a time, and I promise you I do grade rather quickly, so just give me a day or so and get the feedback. You'll also want to be starting your Revolutionary America focus area. Just to remind you of the order that you want to try to work in is to take the diagnostic test, which is at the very top. This is essentially just a pre-test to show you what you know. When you're finished, it will give you some data. So it might say for objective 1, you got 3 out of 3. That would suggest to me, I don't really need to study objective 1 very much because I already know that. But I might have got a 0 out of 2 on objective 2. That tells me I need to spend some more time studying objective 2. So use the data and plan your studying accordingly. So once you take the diagnostic, then you want to make sure you're clicking into all of the objective areas and studying the resources. Then when you feel ready, request a content assessment down here. They're not immediately approved. You can send a hangout to me or your learning guide and let them know, like, hey, I requested this. When you have a chance, can you unlock that for me? You will have more success if you choose to do this between the hours of 8 and 4 because we're actually here. So if you're working at 11 p.m. and stuff like that, you're free to do so. but you're very, very unlikely going to get an instructor to open it up at that time. So also something to pay attention to on these screens, the focus area info, the key terms here. If you are somebody that likes to study by making flashcards and things like that, these are some words that are definitely going to come up again on the content assessment. So you want to focus on the key terms. Whenever you click into an objective, it will open up, and this is where your resources are. You do not have to watch or look at every single resource. Do what you feel you're comfortable with. I recommend at least looking at one thing in each objective. But what I highlighted here is the check for understanding. Those are basically just little quizzes that have been built in to help you self-assess and see if you already do know what's needed to know in objective one. And a lot of times I think they take the questions right from there. So definitely a good way to practice for the content assessments is to look at the check for understanding. Okay, so to do for next Tuesday, the 28th, I would like to see you guys all begin studying the Revolutionary America focus area. Again, you don't have to master it. You have about 3 weeks to try to master that if we're going to go according to the pace chart, but definitely try to start it. But you do have to submit checkpoint 1 of the project for feedback so that we can complete the project in a timely manner so we don't fall behind on our very first project. So if you need any help at all with checkpoint 1, please get back to me. All you're going to be doing there is basically reading the Christopher Columbus document sets and kind of determining what was the purpose of the document and what was the context. So if you need any help, please reach out and have an excellent week 1.